Hey, Sandra, you get finished up at the gynecologist?
Yeah, I'm just on my way out now, actually.
How'd it go?
I'm pregnant. They told me I'm 3 months along.
Oh my God, really? Yes, we did it, baby. I can't believe it. This is the best day of my life. What an incredible moment this is. I could do a song and dance. I'm so happy. Yippee!
Me too, sweetie. Isn't it amazing? It doesn't feel real yet, but I'm over the moon. It's like this weird, surreal mix of overwhelming joy and not feeling like I'm in the real world anymore.
No kidding, babe. I know exactly what you mean. I wonder if it's gonna be a boy or a girl. I can't wait to find out. You don't know the gender yet, right? Is it still too early for that?
Yeah, of course it is. We won't be able to find out for a little while yet. If I had to guess, I'd say next month at the earliest, but more likely it'll be the month after.
Oh, I see. Well, I guess we'll just have to hold tight then.
Do you really want to know? Do you have a preference either way? I know a lot of guys want their first to be a boy.
Nope, I'll be happy either way. I just think knowing the gender would make it a lot easier to imagine what life's gonna be like after it's born.
You do have a point.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. I have to tell my parents the good news. I could do it over the phone, but I think news like this deserves an in-person visit. Should I head over now?
Would you mind waiting just a tiny bit longer? If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to wait until I'm a little further into the stable period. I'm sure everything will be fine, but God forbid we went around telling everyone and then the worst happened. I've been told it's best not to get your hopes up too much this early on.
Oh, I see. That makes sense. Okay, how about we pay my folks a visit once we know the gender? That way we can reveal everything in one go.
Would that mean I'd have to go to your parents' house?
I know visiting my folks might not be right at the top of your list of favorite things to do, but I think it'd make a good impression if we both went over to deliver the news in person. My mom and dad are pretty old-fashioned, so I'm set to take over my dad's company one day, and what they really wanted was for us to move in with them to help look after them in their old age.
I'm sorry that didn't end up panning out.
Forget it. I already told you it's fine. It wasn't your fault anyway. You probably wouldn't have been so opposed to the idea if they weren't so horrible and disrespectful to you. I totally get it.
I knew they hated me ever since we first met. I can't believe they still flat out ignore me despite us having been married for over a year now.
I'm really sorry about my parents, babe. They're impossible. But I want you to know you haven't done a single thing to deserve any of it. And it's not your fault. I hope you don't let it get to you. It's not your fault you were raised by a single mom. It really bugs me how they constantly bring it up. As if you should feel bad about who happened to give birth to you. And the only reason you didn't end up going to university was because your mom encouraged you to find a job instead, right? I think the way they poke fun at you for not having a degree is totally unfair. To be honest with you, I think they're a pair of oddballs.
Do you think maybe I should go to university as a mature learner? You do hear about people getting their degrees in their 30s, sometimes even older. Maybe that way your parents might back off, and who knows, they might even start being nice to me.
Oh, don't be silly, babe. You don't have to force yourself to go to university just to satisfy my parents. Besides, they think degrees are worthless unless they're from elite universities.
I see. I wonder if there's anything I can do. I offered to lend a helping hand with the family business, but your dad said he'd rather I didn't.
I'm serious, Sandra. I don't want you to worry a bit about any of the crap my parents say. Just forget about them. Obviously, it'd be a little awkward if you didn't come along to family events and special occasions, what with me being lined up as a successor to the business and all. But beyond that, there's no need for you to have anything to do with them. Let's keep your interactions to a bare minimum, okay?
You're right. I like the sound of that. But still, they introduced me to everyone as Little Miss Helper at the last Thanksgiving dinner. I'm not sure I'm going to be much use to your image as the next company president when they treat me like this.
Ugh. I'm really sorry about that, babe. I'll have a word with them both about it, okay? Oh yeah, I almost forgot. What was going on with you and my big brother at Thanksgiving? You never usually talk to him.
It's not like we were making idle small talk or anything. He just asked me to help him with the dinner arrangements.
Even still, I think it'd be best if you didn't have anything to do with my brother.
Really? Why is that?
Remember when I told you before about him showing up out of the blue to move back in with our parents?
Yeah.
Apparently he got wrapped up in some shady business with some very bad people. Mom told me he didn't have a cent to his name, and when he turned up on their doorstep at 11 p.m. that night, they took him in and are keeping a roof over his head for the time being because he has nowhere else to go. But my brother's always been a lazy good-for-nothing. I mean, he dropped out of college for crying out loud. Who even does that? I'd be worried about you getting wrapped up in some kind of trouble if you two started getting along.
I doubt we'll start getting along just because I helped him set the table on Thanksgiving. That's literally the most we've ever spoken. I barely know anything about him. And besides, we hardly ever see each other anyway. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy that at least one member of your family doesn't flat out ignore me.
Okay, I guess there's nothing to worry about then. Just make sure you don't go anywhere near him when we go to my folks' place in the future. Anyway, I'm about to head back to work.
Good luck, sweetie. I hope you're ready for tonight's supper. It's gonna be a tad more luxurious than what we usually have. Get excited!
Woohoo! You're the best, babe. I can't wait. Drive safe on the way home from the gynecologist. You're not the only one you're looking out for anymore.
George, are you there? Will you be coming home tonight?
Oh, I'm so sorry, babe. Some stuff went down at the office and I got kept way later than I intended. Can you believe Graham from accounting forgot to log one of the biggest orders we've ever had? The entire team's running around the office like headless chickens trying to clean up the mess he made. It'd be comical if it wasn't such a freaking disaster. Anyway, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it home for a little while yet.
Wow, I see. That does sound pretty chaotic. Have you found time to eat amongst the madness?
Yeah, I stopped over at my folks' place on my break for a bite to eat. Oh, damn. You didn't make supper, did you?
Yes. You didn't message me, so I assumed you'd be home on time like normal. But it's fine. Don't worry about it. You can always heat it up in the morning.
I'm really sorry, babe. How are you feeling today?
I'm fine. Thanks for asking. The morning sickness seems to have stopped now.
That's great news, but still, you're bound to have sudden bouts of sickness and nausea when you're pregnant. I want you to rest if you feel like you need to. Don't go overdoing it on housework or anything, okay, babe?
Don't worry, I won't. Oh yeah, did your mom and dad say anything about the baby? They didn't seem even remotely interested when we announced the pregnancy to them yesterday.
No kidding. They were just as rude and blunt with you as ever. But my dad's been going around the office today telling all his employees he's going to be a grandpa. Looks like the bluntness was just a front. He's over the moon.
I see.
He's had the biggest, cheesiest grin on his face all day. I think he's even happier because it's going to be a boy.
Huh? Why?
Because that means he can inherit my dad's company one day.
Does that mean that's what you want for our son too?
Yeah, obviously. I'd feel terrible if my family ever lost the company.
I see. Don't get me wrong, if our son grows up and decides he wants to inherit the company one day, I'll be 100% behind him. But equally, if he decided he wanted to do something else, you know, maybe go into a different industry or do his own thing, following his own passions, I'd be there to support him in that too.
Sandra, you should have known what you were getting yourself into when you married me. We have to produce a successor for the family business. Me and you aren't the only ones in this relationship, and it's not our decision to make.
But I want to prioritize our son and what he wants over the aspirations of anyone else.
It's fine. You don't have to get it. I've always found the sight of you funny.
What's that supposed to mean?
Forget it. As long as I understand, that's all that matters, right?
Why do I feel like you're trying to imply something?
All you need to worry about is producing a healthy son for me, Sandra. It's paramount that he grows up to be as robust and vigorous as humanly possible. So stop worrying about inconsequential gobbledygook and focus on looking after yourself. If you ever find yourself struggling to keep on top of the housework, I'm happy for us to hire a maid. I'm way too busy to help out around the house, so it might actually make sense.
Are things set to get busier for you now or something?
Yeah. But don't sweat it. Things should calm down in time for the birth.
I see.
Oh, hang on a sec. I have a message for you.
Huh?
My mom just suggested you go and stay with her and my dad instead of resting up at your mom's place after the birth.
What? Your mom said that? Really?
I knew it. News of their first grandson has made them completely change their tune. They must be really pleased.
If they really are, that's amazing news.
Something tells me things between you guys are gonna change for the better real soon. I can feel it already. I bet they're both gonna start being super nice to you. Onwards and upwards, right? So what's it gonna be, babe? Go on, move into my folks' place for a little while after our son's born, won't you? She's extended you an olive branch by offering to take you in like this. Your mom still works full-time, right? I doubt she'll be able to spare much time to look after you if you stay with her.
Well, it's true, she does. But I'd be lying if I said the idea didn't make me a little nervous. I can't just forget about how they've been with me this whole time. I think I'd feel awkward.
There's nothing to feel awkward about, babe. Don't sweat it. Your recovery and our son will be their #1 priority.
Can I have some time to think on it a little?
Well, I guess you don't have to give me an answer straight away. But to be perfectly honest with you, babe, I'd have a lot more peace of mind if we moved in with them. You know how busy I get with work. I'd feel super reassured knowing they're around to look after you. We'll be able to see each other on my lunch breaks that way, too. What with their house being so close to my workplace, isn't that the ideal scenario in every way possible?
You really think so? Okay, sweetie, I'll think about it.
All right. Try to be positive and keep an open mind. If on the off chance you do move in with them and they start treating you like crap like before, I'll completely lose my shit with them. So if that's what you're worried about, there's no need. I have your back, Sandra. If you decide it's not for you and you want out, you can leave whenever you like.
Got it. Thank you, George. That makes me feel a whole lot better. By the way, what time will you be home tonight?
It'll probably be after midnight the way things are going.
Right, it's pretty late already.
I think it might make more sense to stay at my folks' place tonight. The trains are always full of weirdos at this time. Besides, I'm up first thing tomorrow morning too.
I see.
I'm sorry, babe. I hate leaving you on your own like this.
You'll get more sleep that way, though. I think it's for the best. Good luck with work. Hopefully they let you go sooner rather than later. Don't overdo it, sweetie.
You're right. I'd be of no use to anyone if I collapsed from exhaustion. You too, babe. That little boy in your belly is our #1 priority right now. Don't hesitate to message me if you need anything. Good evening. Is this Sandra's number? It's George's brother, Adam.
Huh? Adam? Where did you get my number?
I'm sorry to message you out of the blue like this. I found it by looking through George's phone.
I see. So, what did you want?
I'm just going to come straight out with it. If you can, you need to divorce my brother. If you can't, don't ever come anywhere near this house again.
Huh? Adam, what the heck are you talking about? Divorce? Stay away from the house? Did I do something to upset you?
If you don't want your little boy to get stolen away from you, then I suggest you do as I say. Do not trust my family.
What's that supposed to mean? I am so confused.
You have been warned. You're not to discuss what I'm telling you now with anyone. Obviously, that also includes my brother.
Just slow down a sec. I have no idea what you're talking about. Wait a sec. Seriously? You as well? Are you saying all this stuff because you don't approve of me marrying your brother either? Ugh. I thought you were different to your parents. I can't go along with what you're saying, Adam. George is my husband. Surely you can't be serious. Could you at least explain why you're saying these things?
You're planning on moving in with us for your recovery after your son's birth, right?
Yes. George works a lot, and I'd struggle a lot raising a little boy on my own. It was your mom's idea.
My family are planning on stealing your baby when you move in with them.
Steal? My baby? That's crazy talk. Why on earth would they do something like that? Me and George are his parents, so naturally we'll have legal custody. Even if they did steal him, we could just go to the police.
You're tragically mistaken. If they do get their grubby mitts on the boy, you may as well think of it as being the last time you see him.
Adam, please, what you're saying is absolutely insane. What exactly am I supposed to say to this? What, should I just blindly believe you? I need to discuss this with George.
No, you mustn't mention a word of this to my brother. He's fully on board with my parents' twisted plan.
No way, he'd never agree to that. George was over the moon when I announced the pregnancy. I've never seen him so happy. He loves me.
Do you really believe that? It's time to wake up and smell the coffee, Sandra. He's been coming home late ever since you announced you were pregnant, hasn't he?
That's because he's busy with work.
Not to lie. His company has a no overtime policy.
What? Then where has he been? He said he had overtime today, too.
It's time you learn the truth about my brother. About who he really is. And about what he and my family are planning together. You should prepare yourself, Sandra. This is going to come as a shock. Are you ready to know the truth?
I'm ready.
Very well. I have plenty of proof, so I'm going to start from the beginning. I doubt he'll be going home to you today, so time won't be an issue. Alright, let's start with this photo. Sandra, where are you? I couldn't find you at home and your mom says she hasn't heard from you. Why would you leave the house without saying anything like this? Come home, please. I'm so worried you wouldn't believe.
Are you really worried about me?
Sandra. Oh, thank God you replied. So where are you? Go on, babe, tell me. I'll come straight out to get you in the car.
I'm not telling you anything. Don't even bother asking me why. You should know better than anyone else what's going on here.
What? Seriously? It's because I don't have a clue that you got me so worried. Before long, it'll be time for you to bring our little boy into the world. What the heck have gotten into you?
Do you know when I left the house?
Wasn't it today?
No. I left a week ago.
But you were messaging me normally until yesterday.
That was only to keep you from noticing. You pretend you're so worried about me, but you only come home to see me once a week.
That's not my fault. What am I supposed to do? I told you how crazy and hectic things have been for me at the office lately.
I know you're lying. You've been at the person you actually care about's house, haven't you? The only reason you married me is so I'd give you a son to inherit the family business. You were planning on divorcing me and taking custody the moment he was born.
Wait, what? I have no idea what you're talking about, babe. That's crazy talk. Come on, surely you know I wouldn't do that to you. What happened to make you act like this, Sandra?
If it's a divorce you want, great, because I do too. I have mountains of evidence of you going in and out of your lover's house when you were supposed to be doing overtime. Not to mention all the recordings of you and your parents discussing your wicked scheme to steal custody of my son. I'll never let you have him.
Wait, have you been talking to my brother? Come to think of it, he moved out of my parents' place a few days ago. God damn it, that asshole. He's been filling your head with lies, hasn't he?
All your brother did was tell me the truth, and I'm thankful to him. He's the only member of your family who isn't a despicable piece of shit.
Holy heck, Sandra, don't call me that. I'm your husband. No. You can't believe a word he says. He's a despicable one, not me. Trust me, believing him will be the worst mistake of your life.
So tell me, George, how am I supposed to believe anything you say? I know for a fact you've been cheating on me. I also know your girlfriend's incapable of having children. I also know that your parents refused to approve the marriage because she wouldn't be able to provide you with a son. They told you that they'd only agree to the marriage if you found someone else to give birth to a successor for the family business. That's why you married me, isn't it?
No.
Why do you insist on lying? I told you, George, I have evidence. I'll never believe another word that comes out of your mouth. That won't be happening.
Do you want money? If it's money you want, I can pay.
Don't screw me around, asshole. I am not selling my baby. I'll be raising him on my own. I'll never let any of you within 100 miles of him.
Sandra, please, you have to believe me. I never wanted to do any of this. My mom and dad, they wouldn't let me marry my girlfriend if I didn't give them a grandson.
Why couldn't you have just adopted like any normal human being would have in this situation instead of hatching a twisted child-snatching plot built on a web of lies?
They said he had to be blood-related. I told you, my parents are old-fashioned.
You really are a grade A idiot. You and your family must be the biggest morons ever to exist on the face of the earth. Do you think being worried about not having children of your own gives you the right to do what you did?
What choice did I have? I can't let my dad's company change hands. It stays within the family at all costs.
Even still, that doesn't give you the right to use me like some tool to be manipulated into giving you a son. Is that all my life is to you? Is that all our son's life is to you? You're sick. If you really must do what you tried doing to me, at least be honest about it from the get-go and find someone willing to go along with it for money.
Sandra, please, I'm begging you. If you don't give me the boy, my parents are gonna force me to marry the daughter of one of my clients. She's so ugly. Babe, we're talking about a level of ugliness that's so extreme, so off the charts, that she'd have a better chance finding a needle in a haystack than finding a guy to walk her down the aisle with her. And don't even get me started on her personality. That's a whole other can of worms. My parents said I wouldn't be allowed to divorce her. They're threatening to make my girlfriend break up with me too.
I don't care. None of this is my problem. Besides, what's the issue here? That sounds like the perfect fate for the kind of scumbag who'd trick someone into marrying him to act as his personal baby-making machine.
Sandra, please. I'm begging you here. My life will be over if I don't give my parents the boy. Listen, babe, how does it sound? I bet you want your mom to live an easy life, right? She worked so hard raising you all on her own. It's only fair she gets rewarded. One word from me and my dad will give her so much money that she'd never have to work another day in her life. She could live in absolute luxury, ease, and comfort until the end of her days.
Ugh, you invoke such a profound feeling of disgust in me that it's almost so hard to put it into words. We're talking about a feeling that goes beyond mere dislike or irritation. It's more like a visceral reaction, a gut-wrenching sensation that makes me want to physically recoil and distance myself from you as much as possible. I mean, please, did you seriously think I was suddenly going to give up my son as soon as you started dangling bags of cash in front of my eyes?
But money is important.
Sure it is. But I'll get plenty of money from the compensation you're going to owe me for the affair. Besides, I still have my savings left from back when I was single. I'm perfectly capable of raising my son on my own. What's more, I'm perfectly capable of repaying the debt of gratitude I owe my mom without a single cent of your parents' money. How about you stop treating me and my mom like a pair of helpless, needy peasants just because I grew up without a dad?
I'm begging you, Sandra, I mean it. My life is over if you don't help me out here. Please! I'll raise our son with love and care. He'll never want or need for anything.
How could you possibly be capable of looking after our son properly when you're nothing but a spineless yes man who kowtows to your parents' demands, no matter how absurd they are? I'm not going to let you sacrifice our son on the altar of your bizarre obsession with appeasing your deranged parents' every whim. I get that they're foisting all sorts of ridiculous demands on you. But that has absolutely nothing to do with me or my son. He will not be the successor to your dad's company, no matter what. I'm going to give my child a bright future where he can make his own decisions. With that, I swiftly divorced my husband and received a hefty sum in compensation. Apparently, just like he feared, George's parents forced him to marry his client's daughter because he failed in his task of procuring a successor for the family business. His dad, as promised, also drove over to his son's girlfriend, the true apple of his eye's house, and told her everything. Needless to say, she was disgusted beyond words and broke up with him before the day was up. To my surprise, a few months later, I saw a piece on the news about how George's dad's business had been ordered to pay a massive fine after being found guilty of tax fraud. Unable to find a lender to bail them out, they went bankrupt. With my ex-in-laws from hell no longer able to afford to have George around, he moved in with his new wife's family, and I hear that nowadays he helps them run their family business. I dodged a bullet when I divorced him after our short spell of marriage, but it looks like he has no way out this time. George's parents, now being broke, are now almost completely financially dependent on the financial contributions of his new wife's parents, which means their entire livelihood now hinges on brown-nosing them to keep that gravy train chugging along. And for better or worse, they'll most likely remain married forever. I heard that George's new wife isn't particularly interested in him, but is desperate to have kids and enjoys having him around to help with the family business. Which means that now he has essentially been reduced to an errand boy and baby-making machine. What a sweet irony. Life has a funny way of working itself out, doesn't it? That said, I don't feel even an ounce of sympathy for him, and I'll never forgive him for as long as I live for what he did to me. I love he lives a life of eternal regret for lying to and deceiving me in an attempt to steal my son. Losing the love of his life and being forced to endure a life of marriage to someone he finds repulsive is only the beginning of what he actually deserves. While my ex-husband and his parents' lives descend into chaos, I gave birth to a beautiful, healthy baby boy. Between my savings and the whopping payout I got awarded in court for George's affair, I'm financially comfortable right now, so I intend on holding off on finding a job for a little while so I can focus on spending time with my son. George's brother Adam also very kindly sent me a generous celebration gift to congratulate me on the birth. I was so astonished when I saw how much he'd given me that I tried to decline and offered to send it back to him. But he insisted I keep it and wouldn't take a no for an answer. So I decided to put it into a savings account for my son when he gets older. To be honest, I thought Adam was a little blunt when we first met, but in the end, he turned out to be the only decent, kind human being in his whole family. He told me that the celebratory payout he sent me was no issue because he was the CEO of a company. My jaw almost hit the floor. I have my suspicions his momentary return to his folks' place had nothing to do with him falling on hard times, but was in fact part of a plot to expose their wrongdoing and bring them down once and for all. That's all just speculation on my part, though. The bottom line is I owe him a great deal, and I'll always be grateful for what he did for me. My only focus now is being the best mother I can be for my son. I'll never let anyone take him, no matter what. And I'm going to build a home full of warmth and love so he can flourish into the amazing person I know he is destined to be.